Hey BookTube, this is Love Me or Leave Me, episode, what is this, like 6? I think it's 6. I'm Jen, and normally I talk about audiobooks, but this is Love Me or Leave Me, the next installment. This is a series that was started by Lisa at Books and Smiles, and it is a combination bookshelf tour and unhaul. And I have just had too many books, got to get rid of some. It's ridiculous. I needed to go through and weed them out. So that is what I'm doing. In the interest of not having to squeeze myself into a tiny little spot with the bottom shelf of my shelves, I went ahead and brought them all into here, which you can kind of see. They're all right there. So I'm going to go through them one by one and just, yeah, it's either going to be I love you and you're staying with me, or you must leave me now. Okay, starting off with The Secret Life of Bees. This is by Sue Monk Kidd and seemed like a good idea at the time, actually. I think I found this at Goodwill. I've never read it. It's chick lit. It's like, I don't know. It just never really appealed to me all that much. And I also have the Mermaid chair. I think I've had these books for maybe 3-4 years now. It's like, why have I not read them? I don't know. I just haven't. So, okay, bye-bye. The History of Love by Nicole Krauss. Now this one, I don't know about this. I don't know if it's on audio. I'm pretty sure both the Mermaid chair and The Secret Life of Bees, I'm pretty certain that those are. This one, I don't know. And this was sent to me by my good friend Patty. And I don't know. I don't know anything really about this book, and I would like to know. So if you've read this, could you let me know? And I will put this in the maybe pile, the maybe probably not pile, but I don't know. It strikes me as like women's fiction, which is basically what those two are too. So I don't think I would get to it. I've had it for about a year, so, you know, like, come on, Jen, read your books. So I don't know. I'll put this in the maybe pile because I'm clueless. Moonglass by Jessi Kirby. I can't remember if I've read this or not. I honestly just don't remember. This is YA contemporary. No, I haven't read this, so I don't know. I'll have to look and see if this is on audio. I do like YA contemporary most of the time. I know last time I did this, I said I love it, and then I got rid of a bunch of books. So I don't know about this one. So I'll put this in the maybe pile too. Grave Mercy and Dark Triumph, which are both by Robin LeFevers. And this is an ARC that I found, I think, at Goodwill. This is a hardback that I can't remember where I got it. Probably good book outlet. But, you know, classic thing, 2 formats, hardback, paperback. This is a really nice paperback, but you know what? It's YA fantasy about assassins, like girls who get sent to a convent and they are trained as assassins. And I've heard that it's really good, but I also know that it's available on audio, and because it's 2 formats, I'm going, I don't think so. So I'll pass those along, but I may still read them if one of you says, oh my gosh, you got to read that, which, you know what, I have gone back and read your comments, and I've pulled out a couple of books to actually read because you said you should read that. So Messenger by Lois Lowry. I don't think I've read this one. Wait, it's like part of the Giver trilogy. I don't know. It's like 4 books that she wrote, and it's YA dystopian. I saw the movie, I liked it. I think I've read the first 3 books, which would mean I read this one, I think. I don't know. I don't have a clue. It's a nice hardback. I'm sure I found it at Goodwill, and goodbye. Okay. Lightning by Dean Koontz. Yeah, I got to keep this one because this was a book that I read back when I was, oh, I don't know, in my 20s maybe, and I loved it. It was one of the first, actually, I think it was the second Dean Koontz book that I ever read, and I loved it. It's time travel, and it's so good. And I have it on audio, but the audio is terrible. It's like, ugh, I don't know. It was done a long time ago before audiobooks people, before, you know, the whole industry got going and people knew what they were doing. And so, yeah, but I love this book, so I'm keeping it. First one that I'm keeping. I think I talked about these in another video. These are all by Jessica Khoury. They are Origin, Vitro, and Kalahari. They are part of a series. They're companion novels, so they don't follow one character or one set of characters. It's different characters, but I don't know how they are related really. But I haven't read all of them. I've read Origin, but I've not read Vitro or Kalahari, and I'm interested to do that, so I want to keep these. So I think I said that before, but okay, said it again, didn't I? Shattered Souls by Lindsey was a book I found at Ollie's, I think. Seemed like a good idea at the time. Love, Death, Destiny, and Danger. I don't know what this is about. I can't remember. I think it's, I don't know. For some reason, I'm thinking this is mystery suspense, kind of paranormal, something. Oh, Lindsey hears voices, so it's ghosts. And YA, and I don't care. I don't care. Deceived by Julianne Lindsey is another book that I found at Ollie's, thinking that it would be great for Halloween. And it says, what you don't know can kill you. But I haven't read this yet, and unless you tell me that you've read it and it's fantastic, then I'm just gonna pass it along. Are We There Yet by David Levithan. I love David Levithan, I truly do, but this was just, it's adult fiction about two brothers that go on vacation in Italy to please their parents because their parents think they need to spend time together. I don't know. It's not very long, and I would call it literary fiction. I didn't love it, which is odd because mostly I love his books, but this one I don't know, meh. So I'm gonna pass it along. 3 books by M. Leighton. They are, There's Wild, Then There's You, Some Like It Wild, and Everything for Us. These are all new adult contemporary romance, and one of them I read and I didn't like the way that she stuck that whole trope of the pastor's daughter who comes from the family where they're all legalistic and unyielding and unbending and nasty people that you don't want to be around. And I hate that. I hate that trope because I'm a pastor's wife and my kids are great and they love God and they love me and they love everybody else too, mainly. Because that's what we taught them. Love God and love others. So, hello. So I hate that trope. It really ticks me off. So I did read these 2. I can't remember if I read this one or not. I don't know. I can't remember, but I don't need to own those. No. Bye-bye. Amy and Roger's Epic Detour. Now this one I listened to on audio. This is by Morgan Matson, and I listened to it and then I bought the book because of the formatting. It's a road trip and there are things like that inside, which you didn't get with the audio. And that was why I bought it. And I do like the book. So for now, I think I'm going to keep it. Morgan Matson, more Morgan Matson. Since You've Been Gone. This is a fat book. This is like, how many pages is this? A lot. 400 plus, like 450 pages. Well, I'm interested. I liked, the other book, Amy and Roger. So I think I'm going to hang on to this. I do I have the audio? Whether or not I have the audio, it's available. So I'll listen to it. So I'd like to know who narrates that. Looking for Alibrandi. This is by Melina Marchetta, and it is a classic Australian book. And I think I'm just going to hang on to it for that reason. It was sent to me by my sweet friend Heather, who used to have a booktube channel, and I don't think she does anymore. She's a teacher, and she just knew it was a classic Australian book, and so I'm going to keep it. I am going to keep it. I think it's a contemporary story about a girl. That's all I know. Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. Okay, I like this kinda when I read it. It's YA fantasy. And I liked the second book, which was Crown of Midnight, and then Heir of Fire, which is the third book. I wasn't all that thrilled about. And then there was Queen of Shadows, I think is the fourth book, and I didn't care for that at all. I skimmed that in the bookstore, and I thought, okay, now I got the idea, and I don't have to read it. I think that let's see, what is that? This is 1, 2, 3, 4. So the 5th book is coming out this year. People love this series. They love this series. There's also a prequel collection of novellas called The Assassin's Blade. To be honest, I'm not wild about the narrator, and I don't really like this main character very much. Her name is Selena Sardathian, and I just think she's kind of arrogant and a little full of herself and sarcastic. She's not very nice to people, and I just think, no. I mean, I think the reason I liked the 2nd book so much was because I was still kind of part of the group thinking that, oh yeah, this is a good book, this is a good series, she's a good writer. No, this is not for me, so I'm going to pass it along. The Declaration by Gemma Malley is a book that I actually really want to reread. This was one of the first dystopians that I read after the Hunger Games. And I love this copy because it's so pretty. And she's a British author, and it's a good story. I liked it. It was YA dystopian about 2 orphans. And I forget, it's been a long time. It's been probably 5 years ago that I read it, and I've read so much in between here and then, now and then, that I don't remember. Anyway, so I'm going to hang on to that one. The Elementals by Francesca Lia Block. I have a friend, Liz, who loves this author. She loves her. And I read another book of Francesca Lia Block's, and I hated it. I really hated it. So I think I'm going to pass on this one. I mean, I think I got enough of a taste of this author that I just thought, no. I forget what the book was, but it was based on the Odyssey by Homer. Maybe it was just the story, but I didn't like the characters. I didn't like the story. I just didn't like any of it. So it was, I think it was post-apocalyptic. So I'm passing this along. This, I think, is probably, oh no, it says a hypnotic account of a girl's first year in college following the disappearance of her best friend on a school trip and the diagnosis of her mother's cancer. So maybe this is great. You'll have to let me know, but for now, I'm getting rid of it. Not a Drop to Drink by Mindy McGinnis. I really liked this. I especially really liked this on audio. This is YA post-apocalyptic, and I loved the characters. This is a book that is so bleak and stark and unadorned, and I just loved it. I loved it. There is a character in this that ends up dying, and I didn't like that, but, you know, I got over it. It was not something I really liked that happens in books, but really liked it. There is a sequel called Dust, something about dust, and I didn't like it. I just didn't like it, but I like this one, so I'm hanging on to that. 359 by Gretchen McNeil is a book about alternate worlds, and I really liked it. I ended up giving this book 5 stars after I read it. Now, that was a pretty emotional response to the book on audio, but I really, really liked it, so I'm going to keep it. Rochelle Mead, Game Board of the Gods. This is book 1 in some series. What is the name of this series? I don't remember what it is, and I think it's probably a really good series. It's adult. I don't know. It's adult, and it's about a future U.S. where religious extremists have taken over the government, I want to say. And it's a detective and a guy, and I don't know what they're doing, but it's like a mystery, and no, I don't think so. I tried listening to it one time, and I just couldn't get into it at all. Luminous by Dawn Metcalf was a total cover buy. I mean, how can you resist that? So pretty. I have a feeling that this is a book about weird stuff. It seems like when I looked it up on Goodreads, people went, oh, I love it, it's so beautiful, or oh, I hate it, what was that? So I think I'm going to pass it along. If I haven't read it by now, I'm not going to. Fairest by Marissa Meyer is part of the Lunar Chronicles, and this was a gift that was sent to me. I have all of the Lunar Chronicles except for Winter, I think. I've got them back behind me. Yeah, I have Cinder, Scarlet, and Cress. I don't have Winter. These are books that I think are cute. I'll probably just hang on to them for the sake of hanging on to them because I thought they were cute, but yeah, they're nothing to write home about. I mean, I don't know. anyway, those are the books that I own. So I'll hang on to it because I've got, you know, 3 of the rest of the series, although I do reserve the right to get rid of it in the future. The Host by Stephanie Meyer is a great book. I listened to this on audio and I loved it. It's narrated by Kate Redding and I really, really liked it. It's huge. My goodness, how big is this? 619? Yeah, 619 pages. It was a lot of hours listening, but it was totally worth it. And I really, really liked it. But I don't need to keep this book. I think I picked it up because I liked it so much, but I don't need to hang on to this. Yeah, I don't need to hang on to it, so I'm going to pass it along. The Eternal Ones and All You Desire, both by Kirsten Miller. These, this one I've read, this one I haven't read, and they're both available on audio. And this one is narrated by Emma Galvin, and I like Emma Galvin. And she was Trix in Divergent. She did that series. She narrated it on audio. I read this during my very first booktubeathon. I don't know why. I was just interested. I picked it up one night and read it until I fell asleep. I think I read the whole thing in one sitting. It's about reincarnation, and it's a nice story. I don't know what happens in this one. I'd like to know, but to be honest, it's enough that I could listen to it, so I don't need to own those. They're pretty, pretty books, though. This one especially is really pretty. I think I got it at Ollie's, and then I found the sequel at Ollie's. And the last one is Cormac McCarthy's The Road, and yeah, I don't have any interest in reading this at all. I do love sci-fi, but I know this is bleak and dark and sad and depressing, and so no, thank you, no. And that is Love Me or Leave Me episode, I think it's 6. If I am making a huge mistake on getting rid of any of these books, let me know. Let me know if you've read any of them and what you thought of them. Feel free to rave or to rant, either one. And so yeah, there we go. I've got to go find a place to put all of them until I get rid of them. So that's it for now for me, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.